how many people are gonna show up today. It's 10 till, so we'll see.
It's the weather, Mike, that's people afraid of getting stuck.
What is this, Joe?
That's a door, a goose door.
Yeah, one door.
That's one door.
Yeah, I think, and you can tell because it speaks Chinese, it's China, right? But this one is new, so
It can't speak for himself, right?
I see we have another person here. I'm Sue Ross.
Hi, Sue, Joe Kruzak.
These are the dual that go,
And Joe, I think I talked to you, Michael had given me, or somebody gave me a copy of what you guys were doing with the tires. And I talked with you.
Yeah.
And told you I was from the post, and you said, no, you didn't want anything, so we respect that. Let's respect that. Joe, did you find any of the swans that they're talking about?
I think my nephew.
Yeah, he mentioned when he was...
December 21st he was jogging there, but that's around the same time frame that Bobby Lukacic, who submitted the photos of the Hammond Times, found that. So your swans, Joe, that you found might have been the same, unless they didn't pick them up yet.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't know if they would, what it takes for the city to pick them up.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and they said about 2 weeks ago she was walking to and from the Environmental Education Center, and she said she saw a dead duck.
Oh.
And I said, "You sure it wasn't a swan?" And she knows her birds, so she said, "No, it's a dead duck." And she couldn't tell because the head was underneath the ice, just the main body was above.
It was Lake George here?
It was Lake George, and it was right where the looking.
There's an observation.
Observation. That it was right there.
That's what's in this north part. Lake Avenue has a small little deck that's built out in the lake. Yeah. Unless they were over on the observation pier, which is, that's the south face.
No, it's the north. It was right by the, just
east
of the
Environmental
where
Education
the
Center. Were dying off in the north face.
Exactly. So I'm thinking because I was looking. You would think that when there's a die-off, other animals would be affected by it. And so, but we don't. We haven't had a fish die-off. And there was just this, at least as far as I've heard, it's just this duck is the only thing that wasn't a swan that had died. So anyway, this is something that we could talk about. But the whole, what we need is a scientific-based answer to what's killing the swans, and then we need a science-based answer to what's the source of the lead. And I think most of us can point figures at
metals,
white metals. The other one, East Lake metals, that's not the problem. I think the problem is these white metals. And not because our concern is not just for the swans, but it's for the neighbors to the watershed, neighbors to George Lake. That's who we should be concerned about.
And even like Wolf Lake Terminals isn't rolled out because there's a lot of old, aging post-World War II tankage in there.
Yeah.
And I noticed since Dave Daberton called them on it a few years ago, there's 7 a.m., there's vac trucks coming out of there like crazy.
Huh.
The vacuum trucks.
Yeah.
And that they said that they caught them dumping somewhere illegally into the ground. I said, like DP, where all our truck and rail cars are, we have concrete containment pads, and if you do spill, the containment pad holds it till a vac truck can take it off the premises versus it percolating into the soil and then it not saying anything. See, then you'd have a spill at midnight, and you say, well, let's not report it, and it'll disappear in a few hours. Yeah. See, and then that leaches into where the power conservation areas on the south end. So, but I said, an increase in vac trucks coming out of that place now, whether they're cleaning the tanks out or if they're having spills there, but they're oil and water, gas removal. vac trucks coming out of 70 each morning. That's the last 3 months they've been coming
That's
out
on
of Sheffield.
the south end of Wolf
Right,
Lake,
right.
southeast end of
Yeah,
Wolf Lake.
Wolf Lake terminals, and the vac trucks are exiting that place early in the morning. So I don't know what's happening over there, but I know Dave was trying to video them doing something illegal a few years back,
Yeah,
with illegal dumping into the ground.
yeah, we've been,
And they said Wolf Lake, they took lead levels in Wolf Lake, and those are higher than normal. Now, where is that coming from? You know, who knows?
I,
Possible,
Excuse me, are you from Hammond also?
right?
yeah, they're both.
So, I hate to see industry that close to environmental places,
Yeah,
you know, but that was there after World War II, and those tanks have not been replaced. They're aged tanks at Wolf Lake terminals.
yeah,
And who knows what's in there? If you look, it says Berlin metals,
yeah.
and there's some other liquid industries in there.
Yeah.
Liquid
Yeah,
containment. You don't know
list-
what's in the tanks.
They had an ad,
Wolf Lake Terminals put out an ad one time that showed all the contents that they had. And it was quite a long list of what they do have over there, so, yeah, that's always a concern.
I don't mind dry goods there
Yeah.
for defense purposes, but liquids there, you know, an aging tank spells trouble.
One of the things I have, and I think I sent you this copy, Joe, did I don't know, if you wrote it, with the letter that Dave Daxton wrote to the governor.
Is it from Governor Holcomb?
Hoaxum? Yeah. Have you seen this, Joe?
No, not.
So, but I think his response is right on. Or at least his concern is about giving a scientific based answer to the questions that we have.
How much does it cost to test the water for lead?
You know, I would not.
Yes.
I'm not, Dave, we don't have, Dave, actually, I wanted Dave to be here because he might have an answer to that question, but he's every year he goes on vacation about the time that we have the winter festival, so he doesn't show up to too many of them. But and we also were trying to get people here from USCPA and from Indiana Department of Environmental Management. And I think maybe because of the weather, they didn't confirm, and so they may show up, but because the invitation was put out there.
Right.
But usually when they show up, they usually respond and say, yeah, we plan to.
It's something that, Mike, it's most of the mute swans that are dying off. There's something, Dave's saying something about parasites. Something's killing them in a short span of time. Lead is a long, I'd say maybe when that swan is like 30 years old, then I could see the lead taking over some. But they found the lead in there, but that might not be the exact cause of the immediate death. See,
Yeah,
or
and-
something close.
Something close.
Actually, we have other people. It's interesting. I have another Dr. Phil Willing, who is a fish biologist and very familiar with Wolf Lake. He's done really a long. He did a study analyzing fish in Wolf Lake over a 100-year period. So, so he's familiar with Wolf Lake, and but he, in my discussions with him, he also suggested that it didn't look like lead was killing him. That it looked.
But wouldn't there have been
Would be
more
another
before
answer.
that amount? Like you said, it looked like they'd been killed.
Fairly recently, and only the mute swans. There's been at least the one duck that I heard of, but there hasn't been a lot of other dead
So
animals.
if there was
Fish or-
lead, something, that lead-based, something that was causing that,
Yeah.
Right.
So, but this is pure speculation because none of us are scientists, and that's not we want scientists to tell us what the cause is, and not speculation, because anybody can speculate.
Has anyone noticed that number of mute swans around here over the past
15 or 20 years, it seems like they're more abundant than they have been in the past.
Yes,
And what I would think is that because we're having milder winters, right? We can't, I mean, I shouldn't say that on a day like today, but we were talking about this earlier, that we used to offer skiing, cross-country skiing every year that we had the Winterfest, and we only had cross-country skiing about 3 times. So I think it's milder winters, and so there's less of a die-off of mute swans than there used to be. And when we had severe winters, we would have die-offs of 10 or 20 swans. And that is, and we've had them examined before, and this would be Illinois, I can remember. There was quite a few dead swans that one winter, and they came back and they said, well, the ones that died tend to be the very old or the very young, and they're just not getting enough food, and so it's probably a combination of diet and age. And that was about 10 years ago. So, I mean, and people get all excited about die-offs during the winter of swans, and we just keep telling them, well, that's life. And the ones that die are the ones that are vulnerable, are not the healthiest. So, but this die-off came before we haven't had cold weather yet. So it comes at a very unusual time.
What did you mention, ma'am, about the preservation of the swan in order to do toxicology? Did you say there's something?
I was just reading from what Michael gave me, and that, the information from the DNR.
And they said it's
He has a
essential
copy.
you got this. I think that's part of it.
It's essential to preserve it in order to do the proper testing.
It said that 6 carcasses had elevated lead levels in the kidneys, some to toxic level. But then it goes on to say at the very end of this paragraph that the DNR was unable to determine a specific cause of death due to the decomposition of the animals. In other words, everything wasn't in place to test organs and things like that. So they're saying that there had elevated lead levels, some to toxic levels, but it still could not say specifically and firmly of a cause.
I should have snatched one then, but I don't have a freezer like that to throw it in.
Yeah, you have to call the city, they want to freeze them immediately so they can save
Yeah, you
it
got it.
doesn't
Right.
decompose. But
That's-
getting back, Mike, when you say they have harsh winters, the mute swans have to rely on open water. When they put their heads down, if it's a hard winter, it freezes, they're on ice, they can't feed. And they're not geese going feed on grass, but the swans want to be in shallow water for the roots. And if they can't reach that, that's what happens.
But there's a great,
Story to this, because if you go out on the shoreline around Wolf Lake, for example, every once in a while you run across a bag of corn or oats, and it's ripped open, and so the neighbors to the lake, some of them, it's their responsibility to go out and feed the swans. And have you run across that before, Joe?
Yeah, I think I did see something.
Yeah, and it's the same people every winter that do this. And so, because they realize that there's no open water,
Well, this is an,
The
excuse
diet.
me, Michael, excuse me, this is an important, this letter that he wrote, David Daverton wrote, this is important because what he's asking them to, he suggests that the state look at parasites as the cause, rather than get people riled up about those lead levels.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with this, so I can't speak to this, but it said, allegations made by local officials tied the death of the birds to a release of lead following a fire at a local lead handling facility And he said that is without merit and borders on the absurd.
Yeah.
Okay, so what he's saying in here, he doesn't believe people should get all riled up about
Well-
lead or whatever. No, I understand
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Yeah.
So, in other words, maybe the parasites, but he's not a scientist either.
Right.
No one is, and as you said, these are guesses. This is speculation. So there really, right now, is no answer. But on behalf, he wrote that. I'm going to assume he's writing this letter on behalf of all the residents. He's in Whiting too,
Yeah.
and getting to the bottom of it. But rather than it's saying right here, they're not saying it was the level. So, okay.
Yeah.
I want to clarify.
And
it.
it's, yeah.
And but this is kind of what Joe said too, that it just takes a long time for lead to kill. Swans
And
are
wouldn't
big
there have
birds.
been more?
Big birds.
Right.
And so, and they, if they had all toxic levels of lead in them, that would have been one thing, but it did not. It's just one or two. I don't know what it said.
And one thing I remember, Mike, there's bluegills, they're called greater and lesser squawk ducks. When the zebra mussels got in Lake Michigan, the bluegills, they're diver ducks, they would go down and pick up the zebra mussels and eat them. And the mussels have like a filtering system where they take toxins out of the water. They take nutrients, but they take poisons out of it too when they're filtering. Those birds were eating those mollusks, and then the hen bluegills weren't reproducing in the spring going back to Canada. And they traced it back to the toxins that the females were eating here at Lake Michigan when they were wintering here like now. And they said the females weren't producing eggs, they weren't ovulating right or something. And they said, well, the toxins in their female system was too much. So they examined the stomach contents and the gizzard and said, okay, these poisons were found in the mollusks. And they traced it back to Lake Michigan. See, so if the swans are doing the same thing and eating the mollusks or something, but the swans weren't reproducing, they weren't dying off.
Yeah.
Now, see, you've got to die off here, so that's what I'm trying to figure out. If they're eating the same mussels, if there's a toxin, say if lead is in there from still in the sand that hasn't been picked up yet, confederated, that's still in there, it hasn't been remediated, but the swans are pulling up some of that stuff, and that toxin is in the mussel, and it's like a lead-based toxin because of federated metals. So you got to try and draw a link between what they're eating and why they're dying off. So that's what the biologists are there for. So
Yeah.
that's a link I could see, but how do you prove it? So
Well,
that's the next step.
how you prove it is find it and freeze it before it decomposes, and so that's what I hope, and maybe see if Hammond has already done that. But I would.
Your job, should you choose to accept it, is to help the Port Authority gather information
If you
and
find,
keep them as cold, as frozen as you can. Everyone is
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got the winter now, so you can keep them outside and they'll probably be frozen overnight.
exactly what.
Once it stays, stays below 32, then, you think it's better preserved.
Right.
And so hopefully that's what will happen. Because I think it's important that we find out. But just getting back to Dave Daverton, I know he's concerned about the the lead level that's in the air. And I think probably all residents of Whiting and Hammond are concerned.
But he's saying in here, excuse me, Michael, but he's saying in here he doesn't believe that's talking
That's not the cause of the death of the swans.
Right.
I think he's still concerned about the lead level.
Right.
And the lead level even in the swans. But I think his point was that that most likely wasn't the cause of death. His speculation is that it's
Exactly what he just said,
Right.
because the fish there weren't dead fish.
Yeah.
There weren't any, the migrating birds, nobody else was dying off of anything. So, and it mentioned about the mollusks, what you just said, Joe?
Yeah, it's like a little shellfish, his shells. It's
zebra
Right.
mussel, mollusk.
So
it's
that's what they
small like
feed
mussel.
off of,
Clam.
if that's what they feed off of,
So
then.
that was a good suggestion. I thought the letter was thoughtful.
I hope you don't, his comment about, what was his comment?
Well, unless I
Give us
talk
a
to
little-
you directly, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
quote anything from here. All I'm
Okay.
gonna say
Yes.
is that a resident,
Yeah.
a concerned Whiting resident had sent this letter,
Well,
you know, et cetera.
right, and
I'm not gonna get into specifics.
no, good. And several members of our board that have told me that they are that they don't think it's lead that's responsible for the death. But,
So several members of the board had
Of our
also
board.
had
Yeah.
ideas and suggestions. But
Yeah.
as you keep on coming back to, this is all guesses, it's all speculation, because no one, you need a
No, yeah.
scientific based answer, correct?
They didn't look aggressively decomposed when I went by them. I
Well,
don't know
we
how long
found
they
them
had.
in cold weather, I mean, the warmer the weather, the faster it's gonna decompose. You found them in December, like the, around this.
It was
first day of
pretty
winter.
warm, but not extraordinarily warm. They looked pretty well preserved to me.
Right.
And then,
you know what I did? In fact, it was last summer when I was riding along Wolf Lake.
And I saw Swan, dead swan, and the coyotes hadn't gotten to it yet, so there wasn't, so it wasn't, coyote didn't kill it. And that was by the Ileana Yacht Club. In fact, that was where, I think it was Dave Deverton saw about 2 weeks ago, 3 swans, dead swans. And only one had been, did
Were
the
they all,
coyotes get at?
excuse me, Michael, were they all within the same area?
Yeah, the 3 there were in the water by the Ileana Yacht Club.
Okay, but all 10 of them that you found, were they all like within the same?
Well, Joe, the ones in George Lake were pretty much found close to the northeast.
Bike path, right, bike path.
And you gotta remember, yeah, that bike path. And you have to remember that 10 years ago, they drained the north half of George Lake. And that was when they went in and scooped out the
Sediment, I think, by
Sediment.
federated metals, and they put
By
a clay
federated-
cap over that
and
sediment.
berm. Yeah, they just took in earth moving, and they just moved the topsoil into a berm, and then they packed the berm, and so you can go out and see it. But that was only a certain area of I assume they thought they got everything, but there may be other parts of the lake that there's that might date back to.
Right. I'll try to email Dave Dabbert and Mike, and if they do get a biologist or somebody from Purdue, that parasite, it could be like a blood parasite where it's doing something with the swan's blood,
Yeah.
or it could be getting in the heart valve system or something, so you have to find out what that parasite, if it's in the swans with a blood test, and they got ways to test what is a parasite doing to the swans in particular, if they're eating that mollusk. If they're preferring that little zebra mussel because they can reach it with their necks, what's the parasite doing? It's got to be shutting something down in their either nervous system or bloodstream, and that could be found out through testing. So Dave's on the right track. You just have to prove it.
Yeah, and I think that's what we have looking for is this science-based answers to it.
Isn't that the same section of land where the Phragmite chemicals were used that killed the trees adjacent to the path?
Well, I know
Probably has nothing to do
they
with
were
it.
spraying on around the Environmental Education Center.
So that's kind of the northwest portion of George Lake. But I don't know how far that spraying the
Right.
Phragmites were and how far they sprayed. But when you spray too close to the shoreline, it's usually the fish.
Right.
You usually have a die-off of fish, and no one really has reported, fish dying.
When they spray for Phragmites, it's supposed to be a diluted solution that they spray in there. If they make a mistake with the mixing of it, then I remember I told Mylan Krasinski they sprayed, when we were fishing, a whole bunch of other trees that they sprayed the Phragmites were dead that were along with them. I said, well,
sure.
that's supposed to be particular Phragmites, it's not supposed to kill everything. So, well, we made a mistake and the solution was right, and it killed like 4 or 5 trees in there, which we didn't want to see.
Yeah.
But kind of took them out too.
That was a
Yeah.
long time ago,
So,
right?
yeah, that's like 10, 15 years ago, I think that was, we spotted those dead trees there.
But whenever you spray it.
Encore, so I remember there was a contractor like with an E, Encore or something that was spraying, I saw the tank out there on the lab road. Phragmite control. But it's chemicals, I hate to see chemicals, but they're needed, but what it's gonna affect something
Wow.
else.
Yeah, you have to be more careful.
When you're around water. Yeah, and you assume that people that you hire know how to do this.
Professional.
Professionals, correct. So, and Joe, did you see this? You saw this in the paper.
Yeah.
The soil testing. You saw that.
Well, they must have done this in the last, 2 months, or?
Last
What's
week ago.
the date? Oh, it's Wednesday the 16th.
Yeah, it was this Wednesday, they came out, and I grabbed it because they did the testing around the golf course area, and in the article they say that they're going to get it closer to whiting metals. And of course, the US EPA has already tested the soils around whiting metals. They listed the number. That was a high number. I didn't realize there was that many lawns. Sampled 30 residential properties on the site and found 25 had levels of lead, about 400 parts.
Yeah, that's like accumulated lead levels from, coming back to the 1930s with Federated Metals.
I know.
Around St. Dallas Parish, that's was all.
And Federated Metals that was active until what, the 1980s?
I think
Joe?
so. Yeah, late 80s or something. And,
Yeah, that's what.
1937, I think they started.
Wow, so that's a long time. So, and what is ironic about this, the die-off is occurring right when those lawns are being corrected, removed, and so, but,
Yeah, that's, contaminated soil is supposed to be taken to an off-site.
Yeah.
Miles from here.
in fact, Calumet containers, when they removed the top 18 inches of that from that area, that was disposed at a landfill in Michigan that was set up for contaminated material. So yeah, it has to go to a specific site also. Why don't we take a break